Doctor Who, Time and the Rani, the first story of the 7th Doctor, is written by Pip and Jane Baker and starring Sylvester McCoy and Bonnie Langford. So yeah, Colin Baker, the 6th Doctor, has signed a contract to do 4 years. Starting from 1985, he's been wanting to beat Tom Baker's record, but the show almost got cancelled by Michael Grade, who was the head of BBC at the time, as you guys might have guessed why.
So why did you cancel the show?
I thought it was rubbish. I thought it was pathetic.
However, John Nathan Turner managed to save it, but unfortunately Colin is to be replaced as Michael sacked him. So Colin got offered to film his regeneration scene, but he turned it down, which I don't blame him. He must be devastated. If alternatively Colin did it, it would be a 4-parter story, and it would explain how the Doctor met Mel. The casting for the 7th Doctor could be played by a woman such as Joanna Lumley, Dawn French, or Frances de la Tour. So as Michael Grade, Sidney Newman and Jonathan Powell, head of drama, went in for the meeting despite not getting along, nothing came out of their meeting. Dermot Crowley and David Fielder auditioned for the role, and Andrew Sachs was offered but turned it down, which he later regretted. Ken Campbell was considered, but they said he's too dark for the series. So it was going to go for Chris Jury, but he played Kingpin in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Was unaware that he's been listed for the next titular protagonist, so eventually it went to Sylvester McCoy. He auditioned, including a read-through. His costume took a little bit of inspiration of Patrick Troughton, who sadly passed away 6 months before part 4 of the story came out, with their checkered trousers and braces. He wore a creamy jacket with scarf around it, handkerchief in his pocket, 1930s shoes, tie, fob watch, waistcoat, and shirts with question marks, and Sylvester McCoy was wearing a hat when he came in, so they let him wear a hat, and yeah, he suggested an umbrella with a question mark, and we get an iconic 7th Doctor, very creative design. John Nathan Turner thought it was about time for logo to change, and it took Starfield away. They got the 7th Doctor blink and smile on the title sequence, which I think it's a great design. So the story was going to be Strange Matter, but obviously changed to Time and the Rani. So the story begins with lasers shooting at the TARDIS with the Doctor and Mel unconscious. And the TARDIS fell into the planet Lacertia with a tractor beam, being watched by Icona. So Rani and Urek broke in and demanded to leave Mel and bring the Doctor while he's regenerating into the 7th Doctor. And I know we can briefly see Sylvester McCoy's face in the blonde wig, which I don't see it as a mistake. I see it as the middle of regeneration process, and his face is morphing through. We get a nice title sequence, the first one using CGI with Sylvester McCoy's face painted silver, and love the theme. While Rani is being abusive to Son, putting Albert Einstein into the machine, she went to the room where the Doctor woke up, which is a great scene.
That was a nice nap. Now, down to business. I'm a bit worried about the temporal flicker in Sector 13.
So the Doctor sees Rani's plans kept falling due to his regeneration side effects. Son was trying to help her, but Rani threatened her, making Son to escape. As the Doctor is about to smash a computer with his umbrella, Urek came in to stung him. Meanwhile, Icona carried Mel from the TARDIS, so later she woke up and tried to run from him. As Son is escaping, she got caught up in those explosive bubble traps, which is upsetting to sit through because I like Son. So Icona thinks Mel is with the Tetrabs because she's not a Lacertian. So after the conversation, Mel managed to save Icona from those bubble traps, so then he realises Mel isn't part of a Tetrap. While they hide from them, the Doctor woke up with amnesia. Rani disguised herself as Mel, which is quite uncanny. She gets the Doctor to work on a damaged machinery in the lab. And I do like what the Doctor does with the spoons. I don't even know how to do it. Must have taken a lot of practices. So the Doctor needed a fresh air, so him and Rani went to the TARDIS. The Doctor changes his clothes, which includes his previous incarnation's outfit. So after opening Patrick Troughton's fur coat, his new outfit reveals, and Rani likes it. So while Mel is separated from Icona to look for the Doctor, Rani sees her on the scanner, telling the Doctor that's Rani. So Mel gets caught up in those bubble traps, pretty intense, because that looks pretty lethal. Luckily it landed in the sea as Icona was about to take that tube out. The explosion gave me a fright. I literally thought that's the end of Mel for a second. But I realised it was the machine that the Doctor is working on, while still unaware that he's with Rani, but he's also wondering why Rani is wearing the same clothes as Mel, wandering around the planet's surface, which is obviously Mel. So Icona saved Mel and ran into Faroon after telling her it was San, that skeleton lying around. She's pretty devastated. It's a sad scene. While Rani went out to get the mineral plate to replace the broken one from her TARDIS, Mel went in the HQ and the Doctor and Mel fighting each other as they struggle to know each other. As they're feeling pulses, Mel realises it's the Doctor who regenerated, and the Doctor realises it's Mel.
Yes. I've become more of a fool too, it seems, Mel.
Bayer says the number of code to open the door, which is the same age as the Doctor, as he thinks. It's also Rani's age as well. It's also pretty funny when Yurik shot Rani for mistaking identity. So as Rani came back with mineral plate, Mel, Bayes and Maroon got out. Bayes stayed behind while Mel and Maroon went out in the planet's surface. So after replacing the mineral plate, Rani pressed the button which changes the lighting. Rani is ready to take the Doctor to a giant brain, which is behind the door. After Rani revealed herself, the Doctor tackled her and escaped. We get a scary cliffhanger where the Doctor is surrounded by tetraps in the cave. I do love Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor. I do think he's brilliant and cunning. As I've already mentioned, I've met Sylvester McCoy at Castle Comic Con. Him and Paul McGann are nice guys. And I also loved Bonnie Langford as Melanie Bush. She's sassy, pretty, computer genius, and great friendship to the Doctor. Her acting is great, especially the screaming, which makes it feel real and more like horror. I also met her at Comic Con back in 2015, and she's nice as well, and that's where I heard about her appearing in EastEnders. When I was watching it with my mates as they liked the show, and I was like, I've met that actress! And I wasn't sure if they believed me. Kate O'Mara played the Rani, well, the first Rani, a renegade time lady from Gallifrey, who knew the Doctor and Master since they were young. She pulls it off really well. Even Sylvester thought she was terrifying. Tetraps are like humanoid bats from the planet Tetrabiarbrus. I thought they're pretty scary. Should bring them back. Richard Gauntlett played Urek, but he also voiced by Anthony Keach. Urek is the leader of Tetraps, serving Rani for a while until the end, which I'll talk about it then. Mark Greenstreet played Icona, a Lacertian who's rebellious against Rani. Donald Pickering played Bayes, the leader of the Lacertian race until he dies, leaving Icona as a leader. Bayes' wife, Faroon, is played by Wanda Ventham, one of those Lacertian who's on the run. Maroon's daughter, Lovely San, played by Karen Clegg, who cares for other species as well as hers. She gets mistreated by Rani and sadly dies while trying to escape. John Siegel played Lanisha, the brother of Icona. Tom O'Leary played Albert Einstein, a genius who's known for devising his theory of relativity. He's later played by Nicholas Grace in the 4-minute episode Death is the Only Answer, alongside Matt Smith. Casts did an excellent job. The effects is nicely done for its time and low budget. The music by Keith McCulloch is fantastic. So the Doctor tries to reason with Tetraps, but luckily he's rescued by Bayes. So after the Doctor removed an item and left after a brief fight with Bayes, Rani set the alarm and the Doctor almost stood on a trap, and it's lucky that Icona is there in time to stop the Doctor from being killed and gets taken to Centre of Leisure full of Lacertians. Apparently Bayes ordered Lanisha to have nothing to do with Icona. So Rani releases killer insects to kill some of Lacertians, including Lanisha. So Faroon came in to give the Doctor a message about returning the item, and Rani will give Mel back to the Doctor. So as he and Icona went down to the surface and met up with Yurik and Mel revealed to be a hologram which made the Doctor kicking off. So he goes to the HQ and Tetraps put him into sleep. As Mel discovers a big brain, which is a fantastic design of model, it looks real. Rani drags her out, the Doctor is placed into the machine, it turns on to feed the brain with the genius's intelligence. Sadly, Mel and Bayes couldn't save him. And we get a funny moment when the brain is letting out funny puns which annoyed Rani. So eventually the Doctor is free. He and Mel got the Rani inside the case and locked her in. So they had a look at the brain and then they saw on screen a supernova. As Bayes set Rani free and got to the Doctor and Mel, we learn that she's turning the planet Lacursha into Time Manipulator. So the Doctor and Mel locked Rani in the room and had a fight with Urich. Mel stung him and they ran off. After Bayes helped Urich, he let Rani go. So then Rani and Urich went to her TARDIS. After all geniuses are set free, Bayes sacrificed himself to destroy the brain and delay the launch to miss the asteroid. So as the Doctor and Mel says goodbye to Lacurtians, and apparently they have to solve their own problems, which is why Icona poured the antidote on the ground. So the Doctor drops everyone but Mel, obviously, back where they're from, while Rani is in her TARDIS full of tetraps and gets taken to their planet. I like the story, great start for the 7th Doctor. What did you think of this story? Drop your thoughts on the comments down below. Doctor Who Paradise Towers, the second story of the 7th Doctor, is written by Stephen White and starring Sylvester McCoy and Bonnie Langford. So the inspiration of the story came from High Rise book written by J.G. Ballard. John Nathan Turner decided that incidental music isn't needed any longer, so David Snell got hired, but he was unsatisfied, so later got replaced by Keith McCulloch on short notice, as he did it with Time in the Rani and Delta and the Bannermen. So the story begins with the yellow Kang that's about to get attacked by something pretty unsettling. While Mel is looking at the pool on the scanner, the Doctor seems to be bored. As they arrive in Paradise Towers, they're in the rubbish area and ended up getting surrounded by Red Kang, who likes the Doctor by his clothes but not Mel.
Red Kangs are best! So who's best?
The Red Kangs, I gather.
Poor caretaker, while patrolling, is on the radio and gets killed by those killing cleaner robots. So then there's caretakers chasing the Doctor, Mel and Red Kang. The Doctor ends up falling one side and gets taken away by the caretakers. Mel, while looking for the Doctor, met two old ladies, Tabby and Tilda, and got invited into their house for tea and cakes.
What's your name?
Mel.
Oh, Mel, what a delicious name. Tabby, this is Mel. Hello.
First watching it, I was like, there's something not right here, because they seem too nice, trying to get her to stay, and bones on the table. Plus, they do freak me out. So while Mel is enjoying herself, there's blue Kangs hailing Kangs around the pyramid. Pex broke in, and apparently that's the third time, blimey. As Mel goes out with Pex to look for the Doctor, meanwhile the Doctor meets Chief Caretaker saying the Doctor is to be killed.
What should we do with him now, then, Chief?
Kill him.
Uh-oh. So the Doctor tells them he's not great architect, he's the Doctor, so he gets sent to the waiting room for the execution. While Mel and Pex are patrolling around, we get an amusing scene where the Doctor is sitting with two caretakers having a look at the rule book, and then got them to step away from him and nicked their car keyed an umbrella and made a run for it. Clever. As the Doctor is surrounded by two cleaners, I found it funny when he fell and the way he screamed. He ended up falling to the Red Kang, so he uses tokens that he got from emergency telephone for a vending machine and drinking fizz aid, and Red Kangs like it. While Chief Caretaker is talking to a creature and called himself Daddy.
Did you enjoy your night's caretaker? Hungry? You can't be. Daddy's always made sure you get a good supply of what you need.
Mel and Pex ran into Blue Kang. They released Mel after telling them the truth and revealed who Pex is. While Mel is looking for the Doctor, she meets Tabby and Tilda again, inviting her for tea again. So after having tea and crumpets, they decide not to let Mel go. They reveal themselves and put a net over her. Oh my god, that's pretty scary. Again, I think Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor is brilliant, very cunning. Bonnie Langford is great as Melanie Bush, very sassy and great acting when she screams to make the show more fearful and feeling like a horror movie. Richard Bryars plays Chief Caretaker, who's in charge of caretakers and petted Crowignon. Ronald Lacey, Ian Richardson, Dennis Quilley and Edward Hardwick were all formally offered for the role. Cronion created a number of projects around the galaxy and their architect. We only see Disembodied Mind in this story, and also played by Richard Briers. Apparently this is what they look like. They should bring them back in Doctor Who, as it would be great to explore more of them. Howard Cook played Pex, who's in between. He's known as a coward because he came on Paradise Towers getting away from compulsory conscription. Elizabeth Spriggs and Brenda Bruce played Tabby and Tilda, who are Resis and cannibals. They're really scary. Clive Merrison played Deputy Chief Caretaker, second in command of the Caretakers, and later friended with the Doctor and Mel and Kangs and Resis and Pex. Philip Jackson and later Roger Daltrey were both offered for the role. Julie Brennan and Annabelle plays Fire Escape and Binliner. Yusha, who are members of Red Kang. Catherine Cusack plays Drinking Fountain, who's a Blue Kang leader. Astra Sheridan played Last Yellow Kang. The Kangs are a different group of girls, each of them only distinguishable by the colour of their hair and clothes, but with the same attitude. And I love those Kangs. They should bring Paradise Towers back. Judy Cornwall played Maddie, who's a Resi living next to Tabby and Tilda, who lives in Paradise Towers. Both Rosemary Leach and Frances Schuker were offered for the role of Maddie, Schuker being confirmed before withdrawing. Joseph Young played Caretaker 345/12, subsection 3, who gets killed by a cleaner. Caretakers are in charge of Paradise Towers and they keep it clean of rubbish. Cleaners are killer robots created by Cronion, and I thought they're pretty cool. The effects and sets are well done for low budget and time. The music by Kev McCulloch is fantastic.
No, it can't be. The chief told us.
So while the Caretakers are breaking in to get after the Doctor and Red Kang, Tabby and Tilda plan to eat Mel, and there's claws sticking out of the waste disposal unit.
I can't see anything.
Which is pretty scary, and it grabs Tabby and pulls her away. As Tilda is using a knife, blaming Mel for the death of Tabby, Pex broke in and the claw took Tilda away, so the Doctor sent Red Kang away. As the Caretakers broke in, they found nothing but the Doctor, so he gets taken to Chief Caretaker again. As the Doctor is watching a video of Paradise Towers, Red Kang ties the Caretakers up, rescue the Doctor and take him to Red Kang headquarters, then decide to watch Paradise Towers together while drinking Fizz-Aid. So then Blue Kang came in, and after a massive argument, the Doctor teamed them up in order to save Paradise Towers. After Mel and Pex has trouble with the lift and ended up in the basement, they made it to the swimming pool. The Doctor, Red and Blue Kang, finds Chief Caretaker's pet. As the Chief Caretaker is taken by one of those cleaners, he gets into the container. The cleaner strangles the Doctor with its claw. So lucky, both Kangs saved the Doctor and got away. As Chief Caretaker is out the container, he's taken over by Cronion. As Mel is swimming in the pool, we get an intense moment where the waterbound cleaner is attacking Mel. So Pex gave her a gun and shot it. Admittedly, I know Mel has been depicted as damsel in distress due to the constant screaming, but at least she managed to shot that evil cleaning droid in the pool, so I definitely would say she kicked ass there. It's just a shame that she doesn't get enough credit for it. The swimming pool scene was filmed at Elmswell House near Chalfont St Giles. According to Bonnie Langford, the pool was freezing because the heating unit wasn't turned on for 2 years. Jeez. So the Doctor arrived at the pool with Red and Blue Kangs. They pick on Pex because he's a coward, as they call him. So then Resi's kid needing help, and Deputy Chief Caretaker teamed up with them as well. So everyone worked together despite both Red and Blue Kang calling Pex Scaredy Cat.
He's a cowardly cat. He's a cowardly cat. He's a cowardly cat. Pex, don't go.
So the Doctor and Pex allow themselves to be seen. We get an epic battle scenes as the Doctor tricks Chief into getting into a doorway. He struggled, so Pex pushed him with himself in and exploded. So we cut to everyone holding a ceremony for Pex as he's brave enough to save the Paradise Towers. So we get a nice moment where both Kang gave the Doctor a red and blue scarf. so the Doctor and Mel disappeared away in the TARDIS with a writing on the wall saying Pex lives. This is a fantastic story, I get goosebumps. What did you think of the Paradise Towers? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Doctor Who, Delta and the Bannermen, the third story of the 7th Doctor, is written by Malcolm Cole and starring Sylvester McCoy and Bonnie Langford. So the title was going to be The Flight of the Chimaeron, but then changed to Delta and the Bannermen, which referenced a British band called Echo and the Bunnymen.
Sky is blue, my hands untied, a world looks true through our clean eyes.
The scenes at the Shangri-La holiday camp were shot on location at Butlins Barry Island in Wales. The motorbike was made by British manufacturer Vincent Motorcycles. So the story begins with a war on a planet Shamaria between Chimaerons, who look like those green soldiers from Toy Story, and Bannermen. Sadly, all Chimaerons are killed, leaving Delta the only one left, and she gets given an item, which is an egg. So meanwhile, the Doctor and Mel arrived Tollport 6715 and met Ken Dodd's character, Tollmaster, apparently their 10 billionth customer, and they won a week of Disneyland on Earth 1959.
1959, the rock and roll year.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, let's go, Doctor. Please agree.
While CIA is using a phone box, Mel went in the bus called Nostalgia Tours. Delta came along as well. The Doctor decides to use the TARDIS as a flying in space, which great effects by the way. The bus crashes into satellites. Luckily the Doctor uses his TARDIS to help everyone in the bus to land to safety, and ended up in Shangri-La camp in Wales. That scene was filmed in Butlins Barry Island in Wales. So while everyone met the manager Burton, the Doctor and Billy are taking a look at the bus, meeting Ray. Not that Ray. That Ray, there we go. Mel shares a room with Delta, who's not saying much. So at the dining room, Mel tells the Doctor about Delta and what's making her nervous. Bannerman questioned Tolman and he told him that he lost traces of the bus after the crash. Sadly, Gavrock shot him. After the Doctor dances with Ray, Delta wandered outside. As the Doctor was following her, he discovers Ray crying in the laundry because of Billy crushing on Delta. While Mel is kind to Delta and about to tell her something, we get a scary hatching scene which terrified Mel. The Doctor sneezes gave his and Ray's hiding place away. Keeler held them at gunpoint and he doesn't kill for money, he does it with joy. Yikes.
She's worth nothing to you.
I don't just kill for money. It's also something I enjoy.
The guitar scene at the end of the story is a Squier Stratocaster by Fender, although the model was not available at the time the story was set. So Gavrock self-destructed Keeler, knocking the Doctor and Ray unconscious. So Billy came in, so he and Mel found out more about Delta and her race. So at daytime, the Doctor and Ray woke up and decided to warn Burton about Bannermen on their way. Billy takes Delta and the child out on his motorbike, called Vincent. So after convincing Burton to warn everyone, they're all evacuated. While Mel and Murray are given those Quarb Crystal for the bus, the Doctor and Ray rides on the motorbike to search for Delta and Billy. Again, Sylvester McCoy is great as the 7th Doctor, absolute joy to watch. And I do love Bonnie Langford as Mel, she's great, very sassy and likeable. Don Henderson played Gavrock, who's the leader of the Bannermen who goes on a mission to exterminate Chimaerons. Bannermen are criminal humanoids, they're pretty badass, they should bring them back as well. Chimaeron, that's how it's spelled by the way, are insect-type humanoids from the planet Chimaeria and sadly almost extinct, done by the Bannermen. Belinda Main played Delta, who's a Chimaeron, queen, and the last of her kind. David Kinder played Billy, who's a mechanic and becomes Chimaeron as he fell in love with Delta. Sarah Griffith played Ray, who's also a mechanic and motorcycle enthusiast. Apparently Sarah Griffith, Sophie Aldred and Lynn Gardner auditioned for the role, and it went to Lynn, but she was injured in a scooter accident, so she couldn't do it. Well, she did the announcer voice, so it went for Sarah instead. The character was created to replace Mel, as Bonnie Langford announced leaving the show, but they ditched the idea and allowed Mel to stay until the end of season 24. Chimaeron Princess is taken as an egg, taken care by Delta, played by 4 actresses in one serial. This one is played by Carly Joseph, the one before is Laura Collins. The baby ones are played by Jessica McGough and Amy Osborne, and I think she's a great character. They should bring her back and see how Princess Cimarron is doing. When I first saw this, the voice and screaming freaked me out, especially when she said mum. Oh, that's terrifying. Richard Davis played Burton, who's the manager of Shangri-La in Wales, and he was Major in British Army. Ken Dodd played Tollmaster, the sole employee at Tollport 6715, and according to novel, the description of the character is scaly alien instead of human appearance. Johnny Dennis played Murray, Nostalgia Tour's bus driver. Brian Hibbert played Keela, who's one of those passengers on the bus overheard about Delta and her species, so he reports them to Bannermen. Hugh Lloyd played Goronwy, who's a beekeeper. What I heard was someone called Corey Eadson suggested to Stephen Moffat that Goronwy could be a future Doctor, similar to the Curator because of his mysterious alien nature, and Moffat liked the idea, which is how in The Name of the Doctor, where the 11th Doctor says he's planned to retire and take up beekeeping. Stubby K played Jeromon Weissmuller, and Central Intelligence Agency agent. The casts did a great job, the sets and effects are brilliant, the music by Keith McCulloch is pretty sweet, plus the songs they have in it are Rock Around the Clock, Singing the Blues, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, Mr. Sandman, Good Night Sweetheart, Good Night, That'll Be the Day, Only You, Lollipop, Who's Sorry Now, and Happy Days Are Here Again. Here's to the Future by the Laurels is pretty catchy, and Keith McCulloch played one of them, funny enough. As the Doctor and Ray has found Delta, Billy and the child, Bannerman arrives, so they get away and arrived at Goronwy's house to keep Delta, Billy and the child safe. So the Doctor decides to borrow Billy's motorbike. By the time Murray has got the bus ready, Bannerman sadly destroyed it and killed Murray and the passengers inside it. Oh, it's horrifying and so emotional. So they took Mel and Burton hostage. The Doctor arrives and being so rebellious to Gavrock. I just like how he just spat while he was eating that whatever it is he's eating. Well, it's definitely meat, I can tell. As he set Mel and Burton free, Bannerman started pointing guns, and the Doctor is thinking he might have gone too far.
Actually, I think I may have gone a little too far.
So the Doctor, Mel and Burton got away in a motorbike, brave move. While Ray has set 2 American men free, the Doctor, Mel and Burton arrived at Goronwy's house. So as the Bannermen came, Cimarron Princess screams and growling, which stung Bannermen and warned the others that Bannermen are there. As they got away, they noticed the TARDIS is surrounded by the barriers, so Gavrock and Bannermen went to Goronwy's house, but there was no one there. And shelf full of jar of honey fell on them, and the Bannermen were attacked by bees. Not a bad trap, I would say. So everyone sets the traps for Bannermen, so Princess Cimarron screams through the speakers to stun all Bannermen. And Gavrock fell into the barrier where the TARDIS is and got exploded into atoms. So in the end, everything's alright, Bannermen are tied up, Billy drank those Cimarron drug to become Cimarron, to be with Delta and the Princess, which is understandable. New holiday makers arrive, and the Doctor and Mel disappeared away in the TARDIS. It's such a shame that a lot of people hated this story. I actually enjoyed it. It's a fun story. It has scary moments and great moments. So that's Delta and the Bannermen. Drop your thoughts on the comments down below. I'm not saying no one is allowed to have their own opinion, but if you have something positive to say about this story and would like to write that down on the comments below, that would be great. Doctor Who, Dragonfire, the fourth story of the seventh Doctor, is written by Ian Briggs and starring Sylvester McCoy, Bonnie Langford and Sophie Aldred. So the title was going to be Absolute Zero, The Pyramid's Treasure and Pyramid in Space, but eventually changed to Dragonfire. This is the introduction of Sophie Aldred as Ace, as well as the departure of Bonnie Langford as Mel Bush, and final on-screen appearance of Tony Selby as Sabalom Glitz. So in the ice world, Zavata, which is a space trading colony, we have people in white wearing those spiky hats. So the Doctor and Mel arrived as they go into the cafe ordering strawberry milkshakes. They reunited with Glitz, although he doesn't recognise the Doctor because, regeneration. So the Doctor had to explain him that is actually him. Apparently Glitz's crime is leading them to trouble. Ace, who's a waitress, came.
Everyone calls me Ace.
Oh, how do you do? I'm the Doctor, and this is my friend, Mel.
And we're really going to go looking for dragons?
As they planned to meet the dragon and grabbing the treasure, Glitz didn't want Mel and Ace to come, so it's just the Doctor and Glitz to search around. After Ace gets a complaint from a customer that the milkshake has a lumpy bit, Ace gets a bit cheeky and pours milkshake on her head and gets sacked for it, then poured milkshake on her boss. Good one. So Ace, as she's in a huff, went to her room and Mel came along. We learn that Ace got beamed to the ship and she got expelled from the school because she blew up the art room. Wow. As they carry around with Nitro 9 to blow up a door, they get arrested. Kane gets Ace to pick up a token, but she uses Nitro 9 to let herself and Mel go. As they go on a run, they run into the dragon. Meanwhile, as the Doctor is separated from Glitz, he goes down the ice cliff and hanging on his umbrella with an intense moment where he's losing grip. So luckily Glitz came and, well, he hesitated at first, but then helped the Doctor. That scene had been criticised for the Doctor hanging on his umbrella because there was no reason for it. Andrew Cartmel, the script editor, said in the interview that passage leading to the cliff was meant to be a dead end, leaving the Doctor no choice but to scale the cliff face, but they say the reason is still unclear. I think it's clear enough. So Ace and Mel ran off as the dragon's shooting laser. So the Doctor and Glitz went down the chasm. The Doctor distracts a guard while Glitz goes into his ship, but Belos is there. Then the Doctor came in advising Glitz not to steal what he wants. It's really scary when there's ice zombies patrolling. As they get after Mel and Ace, the Nitro 9 doesn't work on them. In one scene, the Doctor distracts a guard by engaging him in a philosophical conversation. One of Guard's lines about the semiotic thickness of a performed text is a quotation from Doctor Who, The Unfolding Text, a 1983 media studies volume by John Tulloch and Manuel Alexander Alvarado. Cartmel had suggested that writers read The Unfolding Text to familiarise themselves with Doctor Who and its history, which inspired Ian Briggs to quote the academic text in his script in a playful self-reference.
You've no idea what a relief it is for me to have such a stimulating philosophical discussion. There are so few intellectuals about these days.
Again, I do love Sylvester McCoy as the Seventh Doctor. He's fantastic. I told him that when I met him. Sadly, I couldn't do it with Paul McGann because, he's busy focusing on the next person in the line, which, it is understandable and there wasn't much time to do that. Bonnie Langford is great as Melanie Bush, pretty sassy and likeable, like I said. And the actress is nice in real life, as I've already mentioned. I've met her at Comic-Con.
Do you feel like arguing with a can of deodorant that registers 9 on the Richter scale? Run!
I love Sophie Aldred as Ace, amazing companion who's from Perivale, and her real name is Dorothy. According to Fandom Wikia, it's Dorothy Gale, which sounds familiar, or Dorothy Gale McShane. While Sophie Aldred was working on Fiddler on the Roof, she got casted as Ace back in 1987, and since then she's been quite busy with television career, mostly children's program. Tony Selby played Sabalom Glitz, who's a rogue and he's from the planet Salostopus, and he loves money. Fantastic character. Originally in the story they were creating a character called Razorback similar to Glitz, but John Nathan Turner encouraged Ian Briggs to bring Glitz back, so he did, and sadly the actor is no longer with us. Edward Peel played Kane, who's Promonian, a race with an unusual biology, such as body temperature, so he's pretty much a walking ice cream as he needs to stay cool, which is a great idea for a villain. Love to see more of that. Dragon is a biomechanoid jailer from Promon who wanders around in caves of ice worlds. It looked pretty cool. That prosthetics is nicely done for low budget. Tony Ozoba played Krakauer, the leader of Kane's forces. Patricia Quinn played Baloche, who works with Kane until she realizes that he's trouble. Casts did a great job. The sets and effects are brilliant. The music by Dominic Glynn is outstanding. There's great atmosphere. After Krakauer and Baloche are suspecting Kane is a bad guy, Kane freezes them to death. The Doctor and Glitz reunites with Mel and Ace. As Pudovkin is moving towards them, Dragon came from behind and lasered Pudovkin's zombie. As they arrived at Singing Trees, a hologram of Archivist appear and telling them who Kane is and how he's captured. That scene was taken inspiration from Jor-El's scene in Christopher Reeve's Superman movie. As Kane overheard, he says Dragonfire shall be his. So as the dragon got beheaded, Kane kidnaps Ace. While the little girl is hiding under the table in cafe, there's an attack, so the little girl wanders around. Kane makes a deal with the Doctor, is give him the crystal and then he can have Ace back. As the Doctor, Mel and Glitz are in the control room, the crystal gets placed into the machine, and as the big door opens with bright light, Kane melts, taking the inspiration from Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is pretty effectively.
It's scorching.
Although without the blood showing. Funny enough, Ronald Lacey, who had played Tot in the film, was director Chris Klau's first choice to play Kane, but was unavailable. Mel says it's time as she's planning to leave. So Glitz came in with Ace, and it's so sad to see Mel leaving.
I suppose it's time I should be going.
Oh.
Time that I left.
It's a nice line when she says she'll send the Doctor a postcard and put it in the bottle and throw it in space. So as she left with Glitz, Ace decides to stay with the Doctor. So the mother of that little girl found her and got her told off for wandering around. The girl was fascinated to see the TARDIS dematerialized. So that's Dragonfire, a fantastic story. It's cool that in season 24 Blu-ray box set announcement, it's Bonnie returned as Mel, who's sitting in a space station called 24 Carat, with familiar investors like Catherine Cusack came back as Drinking Fountain, Blue Kang leader, Edward Peel played Ice Colonies, and Richard Gauntlet as Derek the Tetrap. Oh, and guess who returned as well?
Doctor.
Mel!
Good old Sylvester McCoy came back as the 7th Doctor carrying a box set, and it's so great to see him back in that costume. Great thing about those box set is we get to watch all serials in each season and the stuff they have, including, you know, the casts working on season 24, having a conversation and talk about their time on the show. What did you think of Dragonfire and season 24? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks people as always for watching, and see you in the next video.